much for the opportunity to be here to Crimson Cloud. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure for us to be here and share what we've learned from our customers about how we can help the enterprise transform the way that people run SAP HANA. And this week, many of you know we have SAP TechEd here in Bangalore, and Amazon Web Services will be present at SAP TechEd, so we can start our conversation but then continue it through the week and help you learn about how to transform the way you run SAP HANA. I'd like to first share an observation that we think that cloud computing has become the new normal. Perhaps cloud computing first became predominant for all of the cool things like startups and mobile applications and social media and things like this. And Gartner refer to those kinds of applications as a type 2 workload. But what we've seen more recently is that cloud computing has become the new normal, but for enterprises and transactional applications. And customers are trying to move these transactional systems, these enterprise applications, to the cloud just as quickly as they can. And that's what Gartner call a type 1 workload. Now, we've seen that the parameters and the characteristics of these systems are different than one another. The cool stuff, we've seen that that kind of a workload is typically optimized for time to innovation and agility. Whereas the type 1 workloads, the transactional systems, we've learned that customers are trying to optimize those for cost and to be very efficient with their operations. Now, if you're perhaps new to cloud or a little unfamiliar, then perhaps I can share that our definition of the cloud at Amazon Web Services is the on-demand delivery of IT resources and applications. It happens over the internet, and importantly with a pay-as-you-go business model, or a pay-as-you-go pricing. Amazon Web Services has made many investments in India, and we're very, very happy to have earned the trust of a great many startups here in India. Today, my colleagues and I had lunch courtesy of Fresh Menu. We ordered our lunch on Fresh Menu, and this is a business which runs on Amazon Web Services, and perhaps you've also worked with some of these startups or order the service or products from these startups, and that's all run on Amazon Web Services. Also, we have been very fortunate to earn the trust of many Indian enterprise customers, and some of these are SAP customers, like Compass Group, who are in the corporate catering business, Macmillan Education, Jubilant Foods, if you've had a snack from Domino's or a donut, then these are customers that are all running SAP applications in the AWS cloud. Amazon Web Services is comprised of some 70 different services, each of which are available, as I say, on demand and with pay-as-you-go pricing. And yes, it can be used for you to deploy your SAP applications, but there's so many more things that you can do with Amazon Web Services. I mean, I even use it for very trivial things like sharing photographs of my kids' sporting activities. And yes, you can deploy SAP applications on AWS, but you could also take advantage of our services for big data or IoT, or you could deploy a website, or you could deploy analytics solutions from partners like Teradata or Tableau or many, many other use cases. We've made many investments in India recently, including with the launch of our region in Mumbai, and this is the 13th region inside the Amazon Web Services global infrastructure. So we are comprised of some 13 regions and more than 30 availability zones. And let me explain that this is important for SAP customers, we've learned, because many of them want to have control over how and where their applications and data are deployed. So many organizations say, well, my data has to stay in India, my records have to be in India, and I want control over that. So this is how it works with Amazon Web Services and deployment of your SAP. You choose the region in which you want to deploy, and if you want the data to stay there, then so be it, in our Mumbai region. Other customers also are interested in leveraging the cloud for higher availability, and perhaps they want to have a replica or a backup of their data, but in another region for purpose of high availability. So you could, for example, deploy production in Mumbai, but then have your backup in Singapore or Frankfurt or Sydney or somewhere else. But at all times, the control is with you, the customer, or the partner that has implemented and managed your SAP systems. We are far from done with investment in regions in AWS. Just a few days ago, we pre-announced that we are expanding into France, and that will provide more choices for our customers who would like to deploy their applications in Europe. Now, most folks are familiar with putting enterprise software in servers, in data centers and buildings, but our approach is a little bit different. So we have this concept of regions and availability zones, as I mentioned, and an availability zone is, well, there are clusters of availability zones inside our regions. So in Mumbai, we have at least one availability zone, and this is a physically separated, distinct location with a distinct set of resources, power, facilities, and each of these things. And that makes it very easy for you to deploy the SAP applications in a highly available fashion and a fault-tolerant way. At Amazon Web Services, we have the concept of a shared responsibility model. All of our customers ask about security, of course, and let me explain a little about this shared responsibility model. So we, AWS, are responsible for security of the cloud. That means that we are responsible for security of the physical infrastructure, the locations, the resources up to and including the hypervisor. Now, we at Amazon Web Services do not have visibility or control over the applications or the data in the cloud. In the shared responsibility model, it is our customers and partners who are responsible for security in the cloud. So privileged user access to SAP applications,